see she's got her mouth open as she's walking towards Mark, so she's quite excited. This is a tyre, I think from a lawnmower. So this is something that the cats don't get that often, but it's exceptionally exciting for the cats. They love it. You see Charlie even there, guys, quite intent the way he's looking at Mark there, looking quite excited by that toy. So this is a different type of toy. This is what we call a throw toy. So you notice that we're not using the pole, we're actually using the rope. So the reason why we use those poles there, of course, is to provide a little bit of safety. So make sure that when the cats are running around going crazy, that we're obviously protected. It gives us a little bit of a gap. Whereas these rope toys are a little bit different for the fact that they're obviously designed to be able to move around in front of the cats. You see how Mark's just positioning his body. But even then, just with Sunita using one of her paws, she was able to get a few claws on it. So it is important that, as I said, the relationship is the most important thing out here, making sure that obviously we continue to do really positive things with the cats, but you need to have a good relationship to start with. And that's why it takes so long to develop one with the cats. Now, if you were to start working with us today, we'd look at probably around 3 years to be able to work with these particular cats. The only reason for that is because they're all young adults now. They're all grown up. They're no longer little cubs anymore. They are basically fully grown, and they're obviously capable of doing some very dangerous things. So we need to make sure that your relationship is really strong, and obviously the cats are going to respect you. So once again, that's why it's important that as handlers with the relationships with them, we do this as often as we can. So it's good to see at least Mika in the water there. Charlie, I think, is being such a big, heavy cat. He's had enough. He's just going to sit back and play lifeguard on the mound. Charlie's the sort of cat that sometimes expects you to walk up to him, open his mouth and place the toy in the mouth, then close his mouth for him. So he's a pretty lazy cat. But I would say that's all males. I'm just going to say that's just Charlie, guys. So they're very, very smart about how they interact. You know, as I said, they're instinctive animals. They're not tame or domesticated. They're wild cats. And as I said, that's why it's so important that not only we keep safe out here, but that's because of the relationships that we have. They're not going to do anything unless, you know, they see a point to it. So they're not just going to get up and run around for the sake of it. They okay, well, I've seen that toy before, or yeah, I like that toy, but I'm not really going to get up. Whereas you look at this toy, you see straight away Charlie's up for it because this is one of his favourite toys. This is a big boat float. I reckon we'll get him in the water for this one, guys. This is one of his favourite. You notice that when Mark was waving the other toy around, here we go, big jump for Charlie! Good boy. So you notice, guys, that when Mark was waving that little fake palm tree around, they couldn't care less. You bring out a big boat float, and Charlie's all over it. So it really depends on the motivation. You find that as they get older, they can be a lot harder to play with because they don't really care as much. They'd rather, you know, big ticket items to run around with, not something little. So like, if you have domestic cats at home, you'd probably be aware of this. When they're kittens, you know, you can wave your hand around on the light and they'll chase the shadow of your hand, or you get a bit of string and they'll play with that for hours. Whereas adult domestic cats, you know, to get them playing is very, very difficult. Well, it's the same with tigers, you know, it's the same with them. It takes, when they're little, we can literally rip a bit of bamboo off and they'll run around like crazy. Whereas now, at this age, we have to work a lot harder. Now, you see Mika at the back here, guys, being a little bit stubborn. Mark's asking for the toy back. Now, she's not listening. So there you go, Mark just taps the toy then, and she gives it back. So obviously, yeah, we've got to make sure that they do listen. What we want to prevent, guys, of course, is them getting too excited where they're going to maybe build up any aggression towards us or any of the other cats in that manner. So, but you see that she gets praised for letting that toy go, and then straight away Mark continues to play with her. So, as I said, guys, it's just about making sure that their excitement levels are contained to a point where it's obviously going to be safe for us and for the other cats, but we never just rip the toy